What's up, ladies and gents in Cyberland? So today we're coming back with another Linkin Park review, and this is, out of all the albums, this is the one where it's just like, whoa. It's not an album like I say, whoa, like, oh, this is amazing. It's more like just a nice, fine split for everything that came before it and everything that comes after it. Just a middle road. Thousand Suns. So, A Thousand Suns, at this point, I think because of what happened with Minutes to Midnight, the band was like, I wouldn't say they didn't care, they were just like, we're going to even push the envelope even further with what we did on Minutes to Midnight, even go in another direction, which they did. This, to me, is the band's electronic album, if that's the right word to say it. That's the closest you're going to get for everything that's come out before it and after it. It's not a rock album per se. It does have a little rock elements, but it's more of an electronic album. And when the Catalyst came out, again, when I mentioned in Minutes to Midnight when Mike did the singing for In Between, because of that song and because of how he felt about it, that started to become more into the album. As far as rapping and such, he had songs on this one more so than you had Minutes to Midnight, but not that much more. However, it was good to hear him do that. I was very happy that even if the songs didn't have guitars in it, I was very happy that he came back and put more rapping back in the album. I felt that was needed after Minutes to Midnight to have that refresher, so it was really nice he did that. As far as the guitars, there really isn't any guitars in this album. It's almost like the band instruments were kind of like, yeah. But the band still had instruments. It just wasn't guitars and bass. They incorporated other instruments, and you could see that. And the good thing about when you hear A Thousand Suns and when you saw them perform the songs, you would see, oh, okay. So instead of doing that, you're playing this instrument, or instead of playing this normal instrument, you're playing this. So it was good to see that. This was also the time where fans they had written Linkin Park off. But Linkin Park had also gained a lot of new fans who were more so into electronic music and stuff, and techno and those kind of things, not so much guitar. So that was interesting. When I heard the Catalyst, I knew right away, okay, this is not going to be a rock album, and I'm okay with that because I am a fan of Nine Inch Nails, and I do like music that incorporates that. So I didn't have an issue with that. I've already experienced that with Nine Inch Nails, so this is not something technically new for me. However, I was kind of like, my biggest concern is just have Mike, hopefully Mike raps on some songs. That was my biggest thing. I think if he hadn't done that, I probably would have been really disappointed with this album. But because he did, I wasn't. I was just like, you know what? There's no guitars. I'm okay with that. Chester's fine. But Mike rapping really adds to it, and I was okay with that. However, I think maybe the only issue I have with the album is there wasn't enough tracks. Like, there wasn't enough music tracks. There was more so interludes. And I was like, that's cool, but you should have more tracks than what we ended up getting. And the closing track, The Messenger, it's kind of interesting to have that as a closing track when everything else is all electronic and techno-ish and a little guitar, and then The Messenger's an acoustic, and it's like, huh? Like, the contrast was interesting. So yeah, it was Wretches and Kings. It was interesting to hear Mike rapping on that and how the music went. Hearing Blackout, that was interesting, how Chester's voice was being distorted and stuff. And then, especially when they Come For Me was really interesting too. And again, the band did let you know right away that there's not going to be a lot of guitars. They're there, but they won't be in your face like the other albums. And I was like, okay, well, you know, I'm okay with that. But when Mike said, yes, I'm back. I will be doing a lot more vocals of rap. And I was like, yes, thank you. So I took it for like, okay, not this, but we have this, so we're good. For my rating of A Thousand Suns, I would give it a 4 out of 5. I've always felt it was a 4 out of 5 album. It was never, and the reason why was because, number one, I love my guitars, you know, but the biggest thing is just there wasn't enough tracks. If you scratch all the interludes, it just wasn't enough tracks, and I was kind of like, you know, sorry guys, but You can put a little bit more on here. It shouldn't have been this many little tracks. And also, Blackbird should have been on this album. That was a song that was done for this 8-bit thing with your phone. I never got that. They said if you beat the game, you get the song or something. Man, I just waited until somebody loaded it, and I ripped it, and I have it with this album. That should have been on this album. Because it did come out before the album, so maybe it's technically part of Minutes to Midnight. As far as my top 5 tracks, when they come for me, Wretches and Kings, Waiting for the End. What was the other one? Oh, Burning in the Skies. Or is it Burning in the Skies? Always, yeah, it's Burning in the Skies and The Catalyst. I feel the one song that encompasses all the elements of this album, and I'm glad, and I really think that was really good that they did that, was The Catalyst. The Catalyst really encompassed what the album was going to be when you heard it. And sometimes bands will release songs like, yeah, I don't know, is that the rest of the album? But I think when they did, especially with Minutes to Midnight and 1,000 Suns, I really think those first 2 singles really did encompass what the albums were going to be. What I've Done, of course, and The Catalyst really encompassed what the album was going to be. So it was kind of like, yeah, you can't go off the first single, but I think when the band released those 2 singles, they were really saying, this is what the album's going to be. If you don't like these songs, if they're not hitting you, you're probably not going to like the album. And lo and behold, that's pretty much what happened. So with that being said, we will cue the music.
Lauren said money changes situation. Big said it increased the complication. Kane said don't step, I ain't the one. Chuck said it Uzi weigh a motherfucking ton. And I'm just a student of the game that they taught me. Rocking every stage and every place that they brought me. I'm awfully underrated, but pivot to correct it. And so it is.